Hey everyone, Jason here with STS. I want to take just a minute today to talk about the repair business in general, and I'm going to lean toward not just board level repairs, but also, well, mainly board level repairs. Most of you that are watching this channel, you're interested in getting into board level repairs, so you're watching this channel and you're trying to learn. I'm going to do my best to do a better job at teaching because I'll admit I absolutely suck as a teacher. But I would like to talk to everybody about some of the pitfalls that can come along, because it sometimes it really is a drag. Now, I just finished doing a warranty job on an iPhone 6 Plus. It originally came in for TriStar failure. So this is an iPhone 6 Plus that was totally dead, and I know the owner is going to watch this, and I don't mean any negative feelings towards you, but you're not the only one. This is something that happens on a regular basis, and it winds up affecting prices. It's getting ready to affect my prices right now. So anyways, iPhone 6 Plus came in a month or so ago for TriStar repair. They had already had it into other shops, you know, tried batteries, tried stuff. The thing came in with missing screws, missing plates. You know, a dot connector installed in it, but none of the strips peeled off, so it was just kind of like pushed into the case and screwed down. So anyways, I did what I do. I check and make sure it's not the dot connector. Dot connector seems fine. Battery seems fine. Most likely TriStar. So I do a TriStar repair on this phone. Brilliant. Charges the battery, fine. Customer pays the bill, ship it out. About a month later, that's going to distract the shit out of you guys. Let's get that off the screen. Now I'm going to be looking at myself. All right, so I get a warranty request, and the things on the list for this warranty request, and not necessarily just a straight warranty request, but it was a, hey, you fixed it and now it's not charging. So not charging was part of this deal. I mean, I can completely understand why it would come back. Since I fixed it for not charging the battery, it comes back not charging the battery. Obviously, that's a warranty request. Now, that's going to cause me to redo my pricing to more of be a flat rate thing. So if it comes in for not charging, I'm covering not charging. I'm not covering TriStar. You know, and that's going to be a higher price all the way across the board, and I'm going to have to deal with this kind of stuff. So anyways, it came in, the complaints were the vibrator's not working, the bottom microphone's not working, nobody can hear me talking, it's not charging the battery, and the screen isn't as bright as it used to be. Now, I don't know how many of you are watching this that do TriStar repairs, but I'm pretty well certain that none of you have ever done a TriStar repair and affected the brightness of the screen. So what has happened here is we've got a phone that's totally dead. The user wants to be able to use it, and they've had it into repair shops that have been dicking with it. You know, they've replaced the battery, replaced the dot connector, and being as that it came here and I'm the final hands that touched it, I'm the one that actually got it working. Well, then that faulty dot connector that they installed becomes my problem. And the screen not being as bright... What? Anyways, it's an aftermarket screen. It's a little blotchy. I have no clue where that comes from. Now, if like a backlight coil is blown, that can cause a really dim screen. There's a lot of stuff that can cause a dim screen, you know, a partially lit backlight. So anyway, long story short, this phone was actually not a recurring TriStar IC failure, yet a bad dot connector. And here's what I found out in replacing the dot connector. The microphone adhesive was still over the microphone, and this is a phone that came in with no passcode, so I actually did not test it, and I'll admit that was a bad move on my part because I knew somebody else replaced that dot connector, and I know the frequency in which those things are bad. So here a 6 Plus came back in for a TriStar warranty job, and I'm sitting here replacing the dot connector, I'm troubleshooting the bottom microphone, I'm troubleshooting the vibrator, and I'm troubleshooting the display brightness, which I didn't spend much time with that other than, whoop, wow, that's bright. Okay, cool, put it down. But since the user hadn't seen this phone lit up in God knows how long, well, all of a sudden it doesn't seem as bright as it used to be. So I guess what I'm trying to get to is that when you're the last person to get it working, and this is something that I've said in many of my other videos, I'm sure, but when you're the last hands that touch it, you become somewhat of the bad guy for all of the other problems because it wasn't doing that before we gave it to you. It wasn't dim like this before I gave it to you. Now, they didn't say that outright, but it came along with a list of things that are wrong after my repair. So, you know, what are you going to do? I don't get much warranty work, but what I do get, I'd say about 75% of the time, involves fixing something that should have never been warranty to start with, which I really don't mind doing that. But whenever a customer starts to act entitled, like you have to, that's bullshit, because you fixed this over here. All this stuff over here is actually their problem and was messed up by their local shop. Now, I'm a really nice guy in this business, and if I spot stuff like that before it heads out the door, a lot of the times I'll go ahead and fix it. Now, if it involves me putting money into it, though, and putting hardware into it, I'm going to charge for the hardware at the very least. And if it starts to be a deal where you start to act completely entitled for it, it's going to be something where I'm going to charge for the labor too. But all of that is a royal pain in the ass to deal with, because it starts to strike up a bunch of finger pointing. It starts to, it would be me sitting here pointing fingers at that shop and sending it back, and you sent it here for charging. Like, instead of replacing that dot connector, I could have put it all back together and said, TriStar IC's fine. You need to have your dot connector replaced. And I could have shipped it back. But instead, I replaced the dot connector, and in the past, I would have done that shit and not even charged for the parts. But people are starting to shove me around so much that I have to, at the very least, charge for the parts and make sure that I'm compensated for at least putting it in the box and sending it back. Because on a normal warranty job, we pay for return shipping. But when this crap gets sent back here and it should have never been warranty to start with, I'm not paying for the shipping. I'm going to quit taking the money out of my pocket for that. So I don't know how much of this I'm going to leave in this video, but I really feel the need to sit down and talk about this, because some of my customers might watch this. Hopefully some of them watch this that are absolutely guilty of that behavior, because it's maddening when you're working on this type of stuff that has so many thousands of connections. You have enough legitimate warranty work, let alone a bunch of hogwash. So in order to be able to make good and honor legitimate warranty work, you can't really put up with all the bullshit and people pointing fingers at you, and send something in that's completely, totally flat dead. Okay? Flat dead. Does not work at all. You tell them, send the passcode or I'm not going to be able to test it. Now I'm talking about a different phone now. That's not this guy. So you tell them you have to send the passcode or I'm not going to test it. Well, that alone winds up being a feat. If they don't send the passcode, you've already got this thing all apart, and you're like, oh, I'm ready to test it. No passcode. Well, what are you going to do? Leave it all in pieces and take up a huge chunk of your workbench? No, you got to finish the repair and put it back together because they were told I need the passcode or I can't test it. So anyway, a phone comes in, deader than a hammer. Typical TriStar repair. We've tried everything, had it here in this shop and that shop, and so it comes in and it won't turn on. They don't send a passcode, and I can understand that, because before the phone wouldn't turn on, everything was fine. So they don't send the passcode. Me assuming everything should also be fine, fix the charging circuit, replace whatever I got to do. Tigris, TriStar, get this thing charging the battery again. Awesome. I verify it charges. I verify it drains. I plug it into a computer, and I verify iTunes sees it as a normal phone, and it comes up and warns me this phone's locked with a passcode. So I verify my repair is good, and I ship the phone back to them. 5 days later, hey, I just got my phone back, and my ear speaker's not working. Like, oh, that really stinks. I'm sorry to hear that. And I try to let them know as politely as possible that they really should have that fixed at a local shop. But then it gets turned around into, it was working before I sent it to you. Really? Working? You mean with the blank screen, nothing vibrating, no switches, you could put that phone to your head and hear the ear speaker working? No. What happened was, through the course of everybody troubleshooting this phone, folding the screen back and forth, plus whatever injury caused the TriStar to go out to start with, most likely didn't damage the ear speaker, but nevertheless, there was a bunch of troubleshooting that took place on this phone. Now, had I received this phone with a passcode, I would have noticed that ear speaker not working, and I would have said, hey, I'm going to have to put a flex cable in this phone to fix your ear speaker. But I didn't have a passcode, so I didn't test it. Well then, since I'm the last person that touched it, that ear speaker's now my fault. I broke it. I didn't break it. I actually did nothing but help this phone. I put my hands into this phone under my microscope and I repaired your phone. Yet I'm going to get blamed for knick-knack things that were absolutely not my fault. Now, if you're a customer and you're watching this, you got to understand, I am really, really reasonable in this business, and I don't have any problem doing a little bit extra and going the extra mile to make this thing work. But whenever it gets turned around to where it's like, you messed up my phone, that's bull. Like, all right, this has got to move because I can't quit looking at myself. Let's just minimize it. I'm only using that for audio anyway, so let's minimize that open broadcaster. So that's some pretty big pitfalls to look out for and test for. Like, you can't be a jerk and do these repairs and just dump it back on them and be like, your problem, sorry, bud. But you do have to look out for it and take into consideration because it's a legitimate threat. It's a pain in the ass. And I'm not really sure where I'm going with this because I didn't write anything down. I just got done with another one of these situations. I've been at it since about 5 or so this morning, and I've done, one after the other repairs, and I had to do a warranty job that wasn't actual warranty. So what I started to say that instead of sticking a customer with this stuff as the repair tech, it really is up to you to test for it at all costs. And if you have the passcode to test for it, good. If you feel that you have time to chase down passcodes, that's good. But man, I get so busy. This is just what I'm working on right now. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put a camera on my shelving system, and I might even put that like live all the time on the website so that people can see these baskets moving through here. But it's a lot of work. So whenever I reach a point where I'm done with the repair, I don't have a passcode. Well, for me to pick up the phone and call usually winds up leave a message. You wait for them to call you back or email back, or I can send them an email and then wait. And all that time I'm leaving this thing apart, and it's screwing up. It's completely screwing me up. Don't get me wrong. In the repair business, especially when you're working on stuff that's this densely populated, the odds of you causing another issue are significant. So keep in mind, you absolutely can cause other issues. But whenever you start comparing display brightness to like TriStar IC or even dot connector, come on, give me a break. Everything here moves along sweet. It goes great. I do get a little bit of warranty work. It's manageable now that I'm putting the M1 jumper on all the iPhone 6 Pluses. It's completely manageable. But when you take the type of person that sees the way I am on the internet, because you guys got the upper hand. Back whenever I was doing all walk-in repairs, I could look at somebody that got out of the car and like I'd look out the window and see them getting out of the car and tell what they were holding, and I could automatically tell most of the time what exactly this customer was up to when they came in the door. So I could spot that type of guy. And here's the type of guy that I'm talking about. The type of guy that walks in and they've got a device that you repaired 2 months ago or whatever, and all of a sudden it has this problem that's your fault, and they start to beat you down and start trying to make you feel bad for this problem. And once they reach a certain point, it's like they reveal the true purpose for their gripe. They've got another repair and they're getting ready to ask you for a price on it. So these people will beat you down and try to make you feel bad before presenting you with the next repair, whether it be for a better turnaround time or a better price. Either way, some people like naturally have it in their genes to where that's just the way they do shit. Even if they do have a legitimate complaint, they treat that like it's this little token, like they've got a free pass. Now they need to get something else fixed, and you fucked up. Here's my token. And they want to use their token to either get a better price out of you or get a better turnaround time out of you. Now that's even if it's a legitimate token, that's fine. That's fine. Whatever. So with the walk-in repair business, that type of thing, that type of mentality was something that I got really, really good at spotting, and I came up with some very creative ways of dealing with these people. And 9 times out of 10, it actually ended in them getting a much, much worse deal. So I get the same exact thing in the mail-in business, only I didn't recognize it at first. I would get like a warranty request combined with, now I've only got I've only got one shop that has ever given me real problems with cutting me down, and that's, let's not go into all that. I'm in a good mood today, and I'm going to stay that way. So it's taken me a while to learn how to recognize that in the mail-in business, and I've spent some time studying it, and I've taken that little complaint about something that was unrelated to my repair, or just something that was just put out there for a complaint, and I've tied that together with shipping and delivery, and sure enough, there's this small group of people where every time they submit their claim, their complaint, it's submitted on the day their next repair arrives in my mailbox. So in the walk-in business, I could tell by somebody's smell, by the way they present themselves, by their hygiene, and all these things that let you know exactly what type of a person they are. It was no problem. But this deal where you guys get to sit here and watch me talk and learn all about me, and I don't get to know anything about you, that's made this tricky. Now, I'll admit that has really made the people reading business tricky. And to be successful in repair, you can't base your prices around your people reading, but you have to base your repair around your people reading, because you got to be really careful. I'm not saying that you should lie to your customers, but I'm saying that whenever it comes to how you deal with a situation and what repair it is, and whether or not, like me, I don't do screen replacements, but whether or not I'm going to offer a screen replacement really depends on the customer. If you're a repair shop and you sent something in here for touch IC failure, and it also it also needs a screen replacement, I'm not even going to offer a screen replacement. I'm going to fix touch IC failure. I'm going to send the invoice, and it's going to have a little note that says the screen is also faulty and will need replaced before the phone's fully fixed. So that's the way I'm going to deal with that type of person. If it's if it's like an older guy that I talked to, and I know that I was his last option. He's planning on sending it here and getting his phone back fixed. I'm going to get a hold of him, and I'm going to let him know, hey, the screen's bad. It's going to add this much to repair, and I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So there's two types of people. Now, whenever you take the type of person that pulls out their demanding card and tries to make you feel like a jerk before asking about their backlight repair, which is their next repair they haven't paid for yet, and I realized that the only reason they did that was for the sake of getting a better price on the backlight repair, between this amount and this amount crap gets thrown out the window. It's automatically the max, because I have a really kind heart, and I'm starting to see really, really strongly the way that people use that against me. Now, most of you don't. I mean, 99.9% of all my customers, you guys are all awesome, but there are the few of you that I don't know if it's the way you grew up or what, but whenever you try to make me feel bad in order to get a better price, a switch is flipped inside of my soul, and I do the opposite. I try not to do that. I try not to talk directly to my customers in these videos. This is more, I started this video with the intentions of talking to other people that are wanting to be in this business, and most of you that are in this business, even if you're just replacing screens, this is common sense. This is just something that you deal with. Your customer brings in a phone that's completely, totally smashed, LCD all multicolored, and big hunks missing out of it, busted. So you do the screen replacement, and after you do your screen replacement, they say, you know the deal. They pay for it, they leave, and they're gone 15 minutes, and you see them pull back in the parking lot. It's not a good deal. If they're gone 15 minutes and come back, it's not a good deal. So they come back in, and my back camera don't work. And this was working before I brought my phone in here. So here you're the last guy that touched it. They're trying to tell you that back camera worked before they brought it to you. In all reality, the back camera worked just as good as the screen that was on it. So what actually happened is they dropped their phone and just annihilated or ran over it with the car or slammed it in the cabinet or whatever. And you put a screen on it and you fixed it. You fixed what they paid you to fix, but you didn't notice their back camera was faulty. And it's your fault. You broke my back camera. You worked on my phone. Before you worked on it, my back camera worked. And there's hardly any reasoning with some of these people, because there's not hardly anything you can say to that person to make them understand that that back camera got broken when you broke your screen. A lot of people are receptive to that, and you know, they've got a brain on their shoulders. But some people with this mentality, I need to put a name on it. Is it the entitled mentality? I don't think that really fits. It's more of like an entitled manipulative. It's like a controlling thing where they always got to have one up on you to get something better. So if they do bring it back with that back camera, most of the time people are receptive and they'll say, oh, that's all right. And what I would do in that situation is I would replace the back camera, and I would only charge for the part. And if you do that, then you know they know that you're not trying to screw them, but nevertheless, you still get blamed for that back camera. So I'm still trying to put a name on this mentality. Like the type of person that just like when they have the slightest little issue with something, whether or not it's your fault, that treat that as a token, like some sort of a golden token that's a manipulation token that they're planning on using against the repair shop that touched it last. That type of person is really, really difficult to deal with in this business. That is going to be it for this video. Watch out for those tricky customers. Cover your ass. I know I am. I'm getting ready to adjust prices to accommodate for this kind of thing. That way there's no more gray area. There's no more he said, she said, this and that. It's just an overall solution price. It makes sense, and it's almost necessary. So we'll see where all that heads. That's it for this video. I hope you all have successful repairs, and I really thank you for watching this channel. Have a good day, everybody.